Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Monday the 14th of December. Okay, let's look at the euro dollar first, and what we saw on Friday was a bit of a recovery, and then it rolled over as it ran pretty close into the previous days highs and Thursday's highs towards that figure. Currently selling off towards the weekly pivot. This moment, looking at this, there was a trend line that's running across the lows here, which it's sort of taken that out at the moment, which could be as it runs towards its weekly pivot. There's a horizontal trend line running across here as well from these prior couple of candles there, which could see it coming back. It's already hit the daily pivot. It wouldn't take too much to hit this weekly pivot, maybe down to the S1 here, but we'll see how that rolls. It's certainly the possibility. Beyond that, the S1 sits in pretty well with the midday lows there. May give some support, and it'll be it's almost actually extending this point at these previous lows will be a sort of key point in terms of direction, maybe for in the coming days. But of course, on Wednesday we've got the Fed meeting, and I wouldn't be surprised if the markets aren't quite consolidated leading up until that, unless of course traders suddenly take a massive decision to take positions in different directions, and then we could see some great volatility. But often we see a slowdown in the markets. They've been expecting this data for some time, but we'll see. Anyway, pound dollar. I should actually mention before I move on to the pound dollar that we got Draghi speaking at 11 o'clock this morning. It's a meeting in Italy. I think he said probably most all of what he's going to say, and probably will only repeat similar sort of stuff, but it could still create volatility in the markets around 11. Okay, pound dollar then. Got a good move up on Friday there, running to the daily 50, and has since rolled over. It's now consolidated on this hourly time frame around the prior highs there. There's a whole solid level of highs. Now it's tested it, and it's quite a pivotal area there at 151, around about the monthly pivot. So that's providing the pivot from pivotal area for now. If we see a break of that, well, then we could come down to the weekly pivot, and really it would tie in quite nicely with what the euro is doing. It has got support if it does break down to the lower side of that 50 MA, which may give it a small short-term bouncer, but there's still some points to be had below that. To the upside, well, Friday's highs would be a possible target, and maybe if it managed to start pushing up in that direction, we could push up to the R1. There's the CPI coming out tomorrow, but it's not sort of one of those news events that people are really overly looking forward to. Okay, looking at the dollar yen, it's come back, found support on the goodness, just looking at what the line was, and it's the let's just bring the picture in. It was a line that was drawn through using the regression channel of how the price had been sitting, and it's just come back to that sort of support line from that regression channel, and taking a bounce at the moment. Heading up maybe towards the weekly pivots, which would suit and correlate across the markets with the other markets coming down. It has got 34.50 in front of us if it does push into that sort of area, but then we've got the weekly pivot, and then the R1 above, which again could be suitable targets. If we do start seeing it continue its ranges selling off, remember the bigger picture here that we've got at the moment from a 4-hour perspective is to the downside. We could push back towards Friday's lows and maybe the S1 eventually. Aussie dollar. Okay, so Aussie dollar Friday sold off. It's consolidated around these lows again. Sitting around these lows, we have got the weekly pivot just above. It's a bit odd relevant relative to the pound and the euro, of course, where they're below, which could see just dragging the euro down. The dollar's bought, which in turn could see us working back towards the Asian session lows there, and maybe that test one. It's Sunday saw it. The Sunday session there saw it just pushing off some more. So it's already air kissed the daily pivot again. So it looks like a reasonable opportunity there on the euro, Aussie. Sorry, beg your pardon. And finally, the Canadian dollar. CAD's had another hit up on Friday, pushed up, but ended up closing right close to its highs, which often signals a continuation, but we'll see. I was looking back for prior highs always when I'm looking at this, and you have to start pulling back into monthly territory to see where the prior highs are, and I've already marked it on here. So around about that 1.4 area, so another 300 or 280-ish pips possible for the upside, but let's just move that back to a daily. So that's where we're sitting at the moment. So, but it has got its weekly pivot below. We might see a bit of a move back towards that. It's got quite extreme. I say extremes, but quite. It did actually extreme on the RSI there, so it may just create a pullback. But any pullback may then see a continuation rally from that point of view. Let's come down to the 60-minute chart then. You see the actually it's not quite a divergence. There was some lower highs here with the RSI coming off quite a long way, which is showing some sort of weakness in this move. Maybe then through the Sunday evening and into this morning. It's currently just short of the pivot. But it is sitting on 21. It'll be interesting to see how it sits here. If it can get any hold here, it may push back towards the highs there. Let's just have a look at what's happening with oil. Okay, so it's selling off. It's right. It's been selling off again. Actually, just need the hourly for that for a moment. So it's at $35.50 a barrel at the moment, sitting around that area. Has got its daily pivot above us. They seem to get hit quite well on oil, so maybe we'll see that move up, which in turn would give the Canadian dollar the chance of coming down a little bit more, maybe, and strengthening back towards that 34. Maybe even the S1. Okay, news-wise today, as I say, key news is really Draghi speaking. There's little else, but there's plenty of good news, or plenty of strong news as we go through the week. That's it for me. Have a great day. Bye.